Scott, I mean, a year-end show here in Japan. I mean, for a lot of MMA fans, I think this is like nostalgia. I mean, do you get that same sort of feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I think about this event, it just makes me feel good all the way around because, you know, I am so thankful to what I learned here when I was working with K1. And when I think about, 19 years later, being here and coming back and doing a big fight like this, it's just such a great feeling. So nostalgia's here. Of course, we're having the biggest nostalgia fight probably in the history of MMA, one of them, right? Rampage versus Fedor, the fight that never happened. But we're also bringing Michael Chandler, MVP, Lorenz Larkin. So we're bringing a lot of great fighters that are going to, hopefully have a great outing on the 29th.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are excited for it. Not many organizations work as closely as you're willing to do here in Japan. I mean, but talk about it. I mean, it comes with some challenges as well. I mean, there's a reason organizations don't do it. So how's the experience been so far? And do you feel like this is, a one-time thing, or could we maybe be starting a tradition here on New Year's Eve?
I mean, really, we haven't even talked about that. Saitama and I have just said, look, let's do something that's going to be historic, that'll be memorable, let's bring all these great fighters together. You know what? He's got a great event on the 31st, and he's going to sell out. And I believe we'll sell out on the 29th. So here is a market and a promoter that can, sell 40,000 tickets in 2 nights. It is unbelievable, And so to me, it's still, the market that it all started in, as far as I'm concerned. And, there's a time where all the greatest fighters in the world fought here, right? And eventually branched off, and they got bought. But I was here during the heyday of K1 and Pride, and you'd walk into a stadium in Tokyo Dome, there's 50, 60,000 people. It's a very rare location that things that have happened here, I haven't seen happen anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, no question about it. This Fedor retirement tour is officially launching, right?
Yeah.
So give us an idea. I mean, how do you envision this thing playing? How long does this tour last? Where do we go? What are we talking about here in terms of Fedor?
Well, how I feel about Fedor is he's a very special fighter, a very special person in the landscape of MMA, and he is a legend. And he was to me the greatest heavyweight of all time. And saying that, I feel like he should be honored and treasured on his way out, and he should go out on his own terms. And that's really what this is all about. I got to give him that respect that he deserves. And we said we're going to sign him to a 3-fight retirement tour. And this is the first stop. This will be the last time he fights in Japan. So if they want to see him live, they have to come down and check him out. Against a legendary fighter like Rampage, who got his start here, Fedor got his start here. It's just going to be a great night. But getting back to Fedor, the second fight, hopefully, if he is okay, doesn't get hurt, maybe we could fight towards late fall or early fall. Location, don't know, but in my mind, the second fight will be someplace in Europe or the Middle East, and then the third fight will be in Moscow, maybe sometime next year. That's the game plan, because I would love to do a fight in Moscow with Bellator, with Fedor's retirement fight.
Be pretty cool.
Yes.
With this dual cards, I'm kind of interested. I mean, you've got Patricky on the 31st. These kind of crossover fights. I wonder, with you and Saki Kabara, is there a little rivalry going on? I mean, do you kind of have a little professional zing at each other?
Well, you know what? Honestly, I felt that there's no way Horiguchi's going to beat Caldwell. That's what I thought until he beat him twice. So to me, we have to come back with a vengeance here and redeem. But in all fairness, it's all in good sportsmanship. It's all in good martial arts competition, But to me, we want to win too. He wants to win. I talked to him last night, and he feels like his guys have a good chance. And I said, well, I can't say anything because you beat us up last time, so let's see. But I feel like we got a good roster here to compete with them, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, you mentioned Horiguchi. I mean, the way that whole situation played out, does it make you hesitant to involve titles and that sort of thing moving forward? I mean, it was a very unfortunate situation. I don't think anybody could have seen coming. But does it make you a little concerned about belts being on the line?
You know what? I'll tell you. I guess deep down the answer is yes, but it won't stop me from doing crazy things that I think the fans want to see. And to me, it was a lot of fun doing that promotion. Will we do it again? Absolutely. And it's just unfortunate for Horiguchi, who got hurt and he couldn't continue. And so You know, these things happen in this sport. As you know, people get hurt. We'll just start ramping up next year for a new champion as Horiguchi gets healthy. He might be out for a year almost, right? So we're definitely going to crown a new champion at 135. But the process of that, I'm not sure how, you know, exactly how we're going to do it or what we're going to do, but we'll figure out something. And, you know, it just might be single elimination fights that, you know, lead to a title fight, and that might be it.
Nice. Another name that we thought we might see out here was Ryan Bader. I think that would have been a fun crossover. It didn't end up happening. What's the update on him? It's been a while since we got a chance to see him. So since we didn't see him here, what's the update on him?
Yeah, Ryan, my understanding is he wants to fight sometime in March, and he's going to defend his 205 belt. That's what he wants to do. So we're going to do that, and we'll hopefully have location, opponent, all the details to announce sometime, you know, early in January.
Do you still see him defending both belts? I mean, is that still something he wants to try and do?
Yeah, he's going to defend both belts until he loses one. I mean, that's just how it's going to be. So, but we have a lot of guys, you know, to give him some good competition. So I think that him coming down to 205 started off, and then I'd like to keep him busy next year. I'd like to have him fight at least 3 times, maybe 4 times next year.
Nice. I want to ask you about Lovato as well. He's been on the sidelines for a little bit. What's the next move for him?
You know what? I'm not sure. We haven't really been talking too much, but you know, come January, everybody's going to be reaching out about, you know, when am I fighting. So, you know, we've been focusing on Hawaii, which was 2 amazing events. The troops event for the USO was just really. It was just really special being there and doing that fight for the guys that, you know, the men and women that defend this country or defend the USA. And then Alima, she put on a great show, fought a tough, you know, Kate Jackson. She was scrappy. You know, she put on a good fight. I thought she was going to tap at some point, but she brought it, man. So, but then we're focusing on this fight. This is a big fight for us, a big event. Saitama Super Arena. Come on, that's like Madison Square Garden in America. This is the mecca of martial arts fighting. You know, this is it. So to me, to have a Bellator event here at Saitama Super Arena with all the fighters that we have here, and then the fighters that will be fighting, you know, against the Rizin fighters, and I think we're going to sell out. So to me, Sakibara told me that this will be the most successful event that a foreign company has come to Japan and put on as far as ticket sales go. In the history of this country, other than a Japanese fight promotion company.
So does that give you a little special bit of pride to be able to accomplish something like that?
Well, you know, it's funny you say pride, right? That's pretty good. I like that, John. That's pretty good. Done. But you know what? It's of course. I mean, you know, this is the mecca, man. This is where it all started. What other country could you go to? Let's say in the 90s and 2000s, where you could go to pancrase, Shudo. You go to rings back then. You could go to Pride. You could go to K1. You could go, you know, to probably 10 different karate organizations competing. Kyokushin, Seido Kaikan. I mean, it was something you could go someplace every week and watch martial arts fighting. And so I don't know of another culture like that. You know, this is truly the mecca. So to come here, perform at the level that we're performing, to sell this building out, it's really an accomplishment. I think it's something that's definitely we get to chuck one up on the bucket list here.
I know we're all excited this, so I don't want to lean too far into 2020, but I did want you to look ahead. Bud and Cyborg, great way to kick off 2020 for you. I got to wonder for you, especially knowing the role in women's MMA that you've played. Is this an especially exciting one for you? Kind of champ versus champ, kind of, you know, bringing in an all-time great. Like, is this a special one for you?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Listen, Cyborg is the greatest female fighter of all time. I don't care what anybody says. I was there in the beginning too, and I've seen it all unfold, and it's a much different environment today than it was back. But I know who's been dominating for the last 10 years and who's been destroying people for the last 10 years. So, you know, 10 years from now, we can have a different conversation, right? See how far different ladies can take it. But as far as today, you got the greatest female fighter of all time fighting Julia Budd, who to me is going to give Cyborg everything she can handle. And some people underestimate Julia Budd, but I'm telling you, this girl can hang. She is physical. I'm not sure if you saw the stare down, but she is a physical, you know, great stand-up, great wrestling. There's going to be a certain physicality I think that she brings that Cyborg's got to be in shape, and she's got to be hungry, and she's got to come to really throw it down, because Julia's going to bring it. And so I'm looking forward to that big clash. And I think that, it's a great way to start the year, right? January 25th in LA at the Forum. Great way to start the year. And we have a great undercard in that fight as well. But that just leads to, 30 fights in the year of 2020. So we have our hands full, and we got a lot of events going on, and it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in the Bellator business right now.
Your European expansion has done very, very well, and I'm just curious kind of what your thoughts are for that in 2020. I've heard some people saying maybe you should start crowning European champions, have that kind of level because you've had such success there. Is that a possibility? And what do you think for Europe?
Yeah, I think that the boxing model does that, right? They have European champions, or they have, different champions in different territories. We haven't decided exactly, if we're going to follow that model, but it's definitely an option. But the fights that we do in London, Dublin is so much fun. I mean, it's just a party going on in Dublin. And then next year, the two new cities, I believe, will be Amsterdam. We'll definitely go to Amsterdam next year, and we're trying to fit Stockholm in there. So those are the two new cities. Along with, we'll go back to Tel Aviv again. We're going to go back to Milan for sure. We already have a date for that fight. So, it's going to be an 8-city tour, and it's going to be built for the European market. We'll sprinkle some of our guys from here in there, or the girls from here to there. But, for the most part, it's going to be a European series made for European television to build new European fans and hopefully find a new star out of the series. And then we can fight them back and forth in different continents. And you know what? We are going to do the same here, right? So, Asia is going to be a big market for us. I would say 2021, 22, 23. I look at Japan, Korea, China as a market that we want to be in and have a good reach. Again, starting an Asian series, maybe a 6-8 fight series on its own, and build a business within the territory that's sustainable, that has a television deal, sponsors, that airs primarily here in Asia with some distribution in America or different parts. But, don't be surprised in the next, 2-3 years that, Bellator will have maybe 50, 60 fights a year because of all the territories we're going to go to.
So this Asia series, how soon could we see that? Are you talking about trying to launch something this year, or 2020, or is that too soon?
Yeah, this is maybe towards the end of 2020, but maybe 2021 is probably more realistic because, trying to get into China, it's a little tricky. We're going to, find a partner there. That's just how it works. We've been approached by 2 or 3 different companies, legitimate companies, to go there and partner with them. Korea is, I was born there, so it's something we have to do. Otherwise, my aunt won't talk to me anymore. And then, Japan is such a strong market. I think that, these are the Asian territories that we're going to go into. And then the last territory, I think in the future will be Latin America, right? I think Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Mexico, that'll be a market. So if you add 8 more fights on the European series, 8 more fights on the Asian series, 8 more fights, that's in Latin America, that's 16 more fights on top of the 30 fights they're doing. I mean, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of work, and we're going to need a lot more staff, and we'll probably open up some offices. But just don't tell my staff that yet, because I don't think they're ready to hear that.
Last thing for me, let's talk about 2020. The idea on the U.S. side, Grand Prix, ideas. Anything fun that you can tease out there right now that you know is going to happen?
What I talked about in Hawaii was when I look at the 125-pound female division with Lima, I really feel like there's some stars ready to get bust out of that division. And when I look at Velasquez and I look at Laura and Lima, I look at just the landscape of that division. To me, I'm not committing to that, but it's very tempting. And I'm going to go back, talk to my guys, talk to our partners of ICOM, and see what they want to do. So I think that it might be something that that we are going to be ready to announce sometime. I don't know, say maybe in February. But I think the next tournament might be a female division tournament.
You think we see any TV changes in 2020?
That's going to be an interesting one. We're working on a lot of things right now. I really don't want to talk about it, but I am very excited. Let's just put it that way.
Nice. Last thing, I guess, just this.
Okay.
How excited are you overall for this dual event type scenario? Do you feel like this is going to be like a historic moment for me? Where does this rank overall in terms of the shows that you've promoted?
I know you guys have been here before. There's nothing like walking into Saitama Super Arena, which to me is like the Yankee Stadium of martial arts fighting. And to walk in there and have, 20,000 people there, watching, the fights. It's going to be unbelievable, and this is definitely something that is historic for the company. It's a big piece of business for the company, and to come here and do it as a Bellator event was something that was really important to us. I think that we checked that off the box, and let's parlay this into something that's sustainable, that we come back here and really build a business here.
Quick question. How are the rule sets? Now, do the post-limbs after the Bellator main card, are they the same rule? Is it going to be under the same rules?
Yeah, my belief was that those will be under the Rizin rules. So once we finish the broadcast and Fedor and Rampage finish the fight, that's the end of the Bellator event, and then Rizin will throw their fight post-limb cards, and they're going to tape it. It'll air on the YouTube channel. But it will be the Rizin rules, is what my understanding. Is that correct? Okay, there you go.
And how can American fans view the post-limbs?
It's going to be on the Bellator YouTube channel.
Oh, they will be. Okay.
Yeah, so it's free. You can just check it out, and it'll be right on there. So it'll be available right after the fights. I think it'll probably close to 3 o'clock.
And lastly, real quick. Rory MacDonald. Mm-hmm. That was, I guess, for a lot of fans, kind of a surprise, him going to PFL. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about the Rory MacDonald experience in Bellator?
Listen, he had some great fights for us. I really like the kid, and he had some good fights. He had some tough fights. He had a lot of tough fights in Bellator. And, I just felt like it was the right timing for us to maybe take a step in a different direction, which we did. And, I wish him well. I think he'll have great success there. And, it's something that, I have no regrets, and neither will he, and we'll move forward. And when you look back at Rory's time in Bellator, you'll say he had 2 great fights with Douglas Lima. One was phenomenal. One was a good fight. He had a tough fight with our guy in San Jose, John Fitch. And Gegard didn't work out for Rory with Gegard. So I think he's had a lot of fights that got his hands full here. So, these things happen, man. It's going to happen, to whether it's us or it's the UFC or whoever else, it's going to happen. I mean, people are going to come and people are going to go. And so that's just the nature of the industry right now.